Week 12 is in the books. That means we turn the page on over to week 13, most likely the final week of your fantasy regular season. And John Daigle, we still need to help the people improve their rosters. These are the 3 moves they need to make out there. Served by Applebee's. We'll go through a drop, go through an ad, we'll go through a deep cut. First, the drop, Jerick McKinnon of the San Francisco 49ers.
It is an obvious one, sure. But the fact is, Jerick McKinnon before the bye handled 15 and 19 touches respectively, and then came back with, as you said, Mostert and Wilson active, and only handled 5 touches on Sunday. It's been made very clear that he is strictly the third down and pass game option whenever Mostert, among others, is available. And now that we have these other 2 backs in the game, not to mention Tevin Coleman likely coming back this following week, I think we can safely cut ties with Jerick McKinnon right before the fantasy playoffs and stash someone with more upside.
2020 has been crazy, but it's so good to see some of these backs come back, like Chris Carson, like Austin Eckler, and Raheem Mostert looked as explosive as ever on Sunday. So I don't expect him to continue his super productive ways moving forward. All right, ad time. Los Angeles Rams running back Cam Akers. Daigle, you even converted me earlier this season to the Darrell Henderson hype train. I mean, there were points when he looked like the most explosive back on this team. But what has happened in recent weeks with Cam Akers?
Well, that's when Henderson was averaging 4.8 yards per carry and 12 yards per catch. But the fact is, in the last 3 games since his quad injury after the team's bye, he's averaged 2 yards per carry. Maybe he's still hobbled, I don't know. But honestly, Cam Akers has been the better player. They were itching for anyone to make a play on Sunday. And in the third quarter, they gave the ball to Cam Akers, 61-yard explosive run, his longest of the season, and then single-handedly engineered that drive with 3 plays, 3 carries, and capped it off with a touchdown. He had 9 carries to Henderson's 10 on the game, and I would imagine that drive and that performance was enough to finally get him more involved. Even his snap margin, 17 to a Malcolm Brown backfield high 25, wasn't wide enough to consider him suddenly still a player you should leave on waiver wires. You should at the very least stash him, but if you're in a pinch, you need somebody because we suddenly have week 13 buys in 2020 as well with the Buccaneers and Panthers. Maybe you need somebody off the waiver wire this week, and I genuinely think Cam Akers is a good play in week 13.
And the final 5 games for the Rams, the Cardinals, the Patriots, the Jets, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals again. We've seen much more random names in previous seasons than Cam Akers, who's a second-round pick, have an instant impact, a major impact on fantasy seasons out there. And, hey, maybe it's his time in one of those weeks as we conclude the season. By the way, we go much more in-depth on Cam Akers and a few other names on the Rotoworld Football Podcast, so go and listen to that, and on Daigle's column, which is on the front of the site. But Daigle, we do need to close with a deep cut. We saw Josh Jacobs exit, be hurt a little bit on Sunday, and we know that John Gruden loves to run the football. Devonta Booker is the most likely replacement, right?
Correct. Devonta Booker even came in, had 5 carries for 6 yards, was not explosive, I understand, but it was a game the Raiders offense overall tanked in that one. Just didn't show up, was not motivated. That's okay because we've seen they're still one of the best offenses in the entire league. And now this upcoming week, they get a matchup against the Jets front 7 that has permitted the most running back catches to opposing offense. We don't think in a competitive or perhaps with a lead game script that Derek Carr will throw the ball as rewind to 3 games before the matchup against the Chiefs. And this past week against the failed one against the Falcons, Derek Carr averaged 24 attempts per game. If they get a lead, they're going to pound the rock. And that, in this case, would be Devonta Booker, assuming Jacob sits this one out.
Cam Akers available in 71% of Yahoo leagues out there, and Devonta Booker available in 91% of Yahoo leagues out there. So go out and get them. And once again, these were the 3 moves you need to make out there for Week 13, served by Applebee's.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.